Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Folks, it is time to grab yourself a pint and pull up a chair and maybe put away the carnivore diet for this one and grab yourself a bit of a planetary diet because, of course, it's another episode of the Soul Sessions. I'm, of course, your host as always, Soul. With me today, the plant-based powerhouse, two-time CPW Women's Champion, Ellie Armstrong. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a while, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
No way, it's an absolute pleasure, Ellie. But of course, you know, as I do, I have a bit of a routine. I have a schedule. I have a plan A, plan B, and a plan C. I have to go by the accord. Of course, we start off with every guest has a story. Every story has a beginning. Ellie, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
I very late to the game. So the first wrestling show I ever watched was the 2016 Royal Rumble. I don't remember any of it. I was absolutely steaming. I watched it with my flatmates at the time and my partner at the time, and we only watched it. So my flatmates were all wrestling fans, but I didn't pay any heed to it. I knew my partner at the time. I knew he liked wrestling, but we'd never watched it together. He hadn't really gotten into it. He was a TNA guy. So that's why we ended up watching this Rumble, because he'd heard the rumors of AJ debuting. And he was like, I'm a big AJ guy. We need to watch this just in case it happens. So I was like, sure, whatever. And I was like, I think my flatmates are going to watch it because Jamie has the network. So shall we just watch it with them in the flat? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, I'm just going to get drunk because I don't know anything about wrestling. So I'm just going to drink. I was a student, got to drink. And we did. Don't remember a single part of the show. Absolutely none. I think I've got a vague recollection of the women's match, but that's it. I don't remember the Rumble at all. I was drinking Copperberg. I do remember what I was drinking though. So, and then yeah, we watched that. We did the same thing for WrestleMania that year. Watched it with my flatmates and my partner, and I got drunk. And again, only remember the women's match. It was Becky, Charlotte, and I think there was someone else in it. But again, barely remember it. And then that year was the Raw and SmackDown tapings in the Hydro. And my partner was like, can you come with me? Because my only other wrestling friend, he was on holiday, I think. So he was like, will you come? And I was like, if you pay for the tickets, I'll come. I don't care. Like, it's a wee night out. Or it was 2 nights out. He's like, oh, but you should really, like, this is like TV tapings. You should really maybe watch some episodes of Raw and SmackDown just so you know what's going on. And I was like, oh, fine, whatever. I think it was like last night's Raw or something. So it was the Raw, not the Raw after SummerSlam, but the Raw after SummerSlam, where Kevin Owens is now Universal Champion. They'd had the match the week before because Finn Balor had broken his collarbone, shoulder, whatever it was. And it was Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho doing bits. And I was like, this is really funny. And then it pretty much spiraled from there. I think we ended up going to an ICW show before the Raw and SmackDown tapings happened because he was like, have you heard of ICW? And I was like, oh, well, I saw that BBC thing they did ages ago, but I didn't really know anything about wrestling. I just watched it because it was funny. And then he was like, oh, we should go to this. This will be for this over 18s. We can have a drink. I was like, okay, we'll go. And I think like Trent Seven was ICW champion at the time. It was a class show. I look back at the card and like some of the names on that card of the first ICW show I went to, it was like Joe Hendry, Wolfgang, just like top guys. So I think I had a pretty good start in wrestling, but again, very late. I was 20 in 2016 when I watched that Rumble. So I was a lot later than most folk.
Hey, I got you beat. I'm 2019 and I was in university at that point. So I'm beating you on entry point top trumps. So I'll take the win for that one. But hey, I mean, you know, getting to have a wee drink, you know, you're having a wee drink and he's probably with his AJ Styles cut out like, this is the best moment of my life. And you're like, this is Copperberg strawberry line. When are we on the dark fruits and the mixed fruits? Come on now, let's up the taste factor there. But I mean, hey, it just shows that wrestling has that wide entry point. Either it's later in life, childhood, video games, figures. And why do you think wrestling has that wide access point across ages and barriers?
I think it is. I know it's such the cliche, but I think wrestling is that variety show. Like, I could bring it up. So not my current job, but the job I was in before, like my shit job that I was in before this, I was the only woman and I was the youngest by at least 20 years. So, but anytime I'd bring up wrestling to them, they would all be like, oh, Kendo Nagasaki, Giant Haystack. So they were all like World of Sport guys from like the 80s. And like when they used to go on holiday to Isle of Man and they'd go see like Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks, all that. So I think you've got like that core, and then you've got like the comedy matches, which will get like, it'll get the clicks nowadays. I think the comedy matches will get like, they'll go a bit more viral. You've got your high flying whoa spots again that can grasp like a casual fan and they'll go, oh, that's cool. You've got your hardcore stuff. I think the variety, like if every match was a 15-minute spot fest, I don't think wrestling would be very fun. But I think the variety of it all is what gives it the broad range. You've got the big characters for the kids. You've got the shirtless men for the Moz. You've got a bit of everything.
Oh yes, the Moz are sitting there like, oh my god, look at it. It was like, calm down, mother. Yes. Calm down. Another day's in a couple of days. That will be your day of celebration. This is for me right now. Let me focus. But that's the joys of wrestling. It is, as I say, a pick and mix. You can put your bag with all the treats you like and leave the licorice ones behind because they are disgusting. But obviously you spoke of ICW, and ICW is, of course, a very important brand here in Scotland. Obviously, the Fight Club documentaries done by the BBC. I've interviewed people that have been on ICW from the likes of Molly Spartan, Rio, and all the people who have been on with the Fight Club tapings. For yourself, Ellie, experiencing ICW for the first time, how do you feel ICW, counteracts with Scottish culture? Because we see that cultures of where wrestling takes place factors into the product they make. So how do you think Scottish culture and ICW collaborated to make such a unique experience?
I think just being a bit mental. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting folk like Grado coming up naturally in England. I just don't think, obviously he's huge now, but I just don't think if the tap end to Stevenson kind of thing, that's not happening in England. I don't think. Like, it's such a specific, even I think it's such a west of Scotland, not even Scotland as a whole. I think ICW was such a perfect encapsulation of, especially that kind of, I was coming into it obviously at the latter end, but I have gone back and watched like a lot of the stuff like on the vault and things. But I think it just encapsulated just how mental the west of Scotland is. And even things like my favourite ICW match of all time, or I suppose it's two matches, but it's the Good Housekeeping matches between Wolfgang and Liam Thompson. I just think they're excellent. The perfect branch of like serious and comedy. I don't think anyone else could have marred how serious it was. Like, Liam Thompson's lost his house. That's very serious, but it was still hilarious. And I don't think any other company but ICW could have given that the platform that it needed. I can't think of the right word to describe it, but I just don't think that match would have worked anywhere outside of the west of Scotland. Absolutely not.
We're a fun bunch, we have our ways of humor. I tried to show an Irish person Still Game and they were like, what is this? And I was like, this is culture. You will watch it and you will understand our way of life. They didn't. They want me to watch Dairy Girls, but hey, I digress. It's their culture. It's my culture. I'm a favoritism for myself. But also, you mentioned ICW's vault allowing past matches to be viewed by a new audience and old that want to relive these old memories. And one match that always comes to my mind of, I love this for what ICW was an unsanctioned match between Joe Hendry and Lionheart, with the story they told and everything going into it was just phenomenal. And of course, featuring Joe Hendry as well, somebody that's just blossoming now within the wide space of wrestling. it's quite insane to think about. People are like, "Oh, this Joe Hendry guy, he must be new and all that. This is such new stuff." And it's like, well, he's been doing this in Scotland like 10 odd years ago. It's like
Yeah.
quite surprising.
I think I get where they're all coming from, like, oh, where has he come from? But I think especially like the Scottish scene, even down to like, because obviously Joe was big in like WCW, not WCW, what culture? WCPW. There we go. Back in the day. So like we can all see the graft he's put in. He's not just suddenly switched and has become a whole new person. This is who he is. He's known who he is. He's put the graft in, and it's finally paying off for him. And I think that's just, if you find something and it works, if you keep building on it, it's going to pay off for you in the end.
Absolutely, and I think it speaks to the importance of obviously the independent scene, that big stars of the day, you can see them in their early days or even potentially their prime on such a smaller level, and it's amazing to see. And of course, with ICW, the women there have thrived there as well. I think of immediately the Piper Niven, which obviously Viper back at the time with Kaylee Ray match, absolutely insanity. Obviously, one that really sticks to my heart because I had them both on was Rio and Molly Spartan at Square Go for the Women's Championship with that iconic Rio falling off the balcony. God, I mean, I spoke to both women about that. Obviously, I know Al Snow was unhappy about it for some reason. Ellie, about that moment, do you think that's probably one of ICW's most iconic moments?
I think, especially of the new era, shall we call it, of ICW, like, absolutely. And I just hated the backlash it got, because I absolutely guarantee if that was two guys, no one would have, it probably still would have gone as viral as it did, because it was a cool spot. It looked gnarly. I wouldn't do it. Absolutely not. They're both mental. But I think just the whole like, oh, they're women, they're so delicate and precious. And I'm like, have you seen those two? Like, I've been in the ring with both of them. They're terrifying. Like, they are strong women. And just the backlash they got, it would not have been such a heated debate, shall we say, if it had been two guys just doing it. And like, how many people have jumped off the garage balcony? Probably does not fit on two hands. You probably need two people to count. So yeah, that's the one that gets all the backlash. So I think that'll me going into a wee misogyny rant, so we'll cut that off there. But those two women, they're amazing. And if I could get more match, like, I've never had a singles with Rio. I haven't wrestled Molly in so long because she's barely in the country these days. So I would love more matches with those two women for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And killer moment. And I stay rewatching and think, Jesus fucking Christ, the pain afterwards must have been something.
I don't want to think about it.
No, it's making my old back curl at the thought of it, and I need that to be intact to fit into this thing. But it's amazing to see what wrestling has obviously become now, and obviously we've seen such a big evolution with WWE being on Netflix and this whole new avenue for wrestling as well. Obviously, Raw was just at the Hydro literally last week as well. Expensive. Oh, my wallet still hurts.
It was more than my Mania tickets, I swear. Like, obviously we didn't get in. Maybe we didn't get in early enough to get the cheap ones, but I swear I paid less for my 2-day Mania pass last year than the Raw at the Hydro tickets. I was like, absolutely no way am I paying that. I've got other things to pay for.
Yes, Lecky Bills, beer, Copperberg, more essential things are on the list at that point. But obviously as well, this year's WrestleMania, it's looking to be a big one. But one thing that people have noticed with the ticket sales is it's currently slated to be the lowest attended WrestleMania since WrestleMania 22. Now, of course, obviously that's because of the building, seeing capacity is different. But do you think this is also a shift in consumers' mind about ticket prices with WWE?
I don't think so. I think a lot. I think people are making a mountain out of a molehill over this. Like, as you say, it's not that big of a venue when you think of US stadiums. Like, last year it was in the Link, and that's like a 70,000 seater stadium, even when you don't take into account the seats they're putting on the floor. So they're not, I know they like to make a big deal like, oh, this is the highest gate, this is the highest. It's not sustainable to keep building on that unless they're going to purposely build stadiums that hold 120,000 folk and they only use it for WrestleMania. So I do think people are making a big mountain out of a molehill over nothing. Like, I think this Mania is going to be class, and if I could afford it, I would be there. But I spent all my savings going last year, so I can't go this year.
Well, hey, last year's one was quite exceptional as well, obviously in Philadelphia. Obviously, the Mania weekend was a great one as well, with a lot of great shows from, GCW with Bloodsport, Tokyo Joshi Pro were putting on shows as well. And obviously, you being there yourself, what was it like experiencing that Mania weekend in particular?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, even just the city itself, Philadelphia, I didn't expect to like the city as much as I did. Like, it was honestly great. I'd go back in a heartbeat. But yeah, I think we got very lucky with the Mania that we chose to go to, because it was amazing. I don't think there was a bad match on the card. That we were trying to work out when we could go for our pee breaks, and we were like, oh, but I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this match. I don't want to miss this match. So we're having to like run out during the video packages to go to the loo or get another drink and things like that. Like, I genuinely don't think there was a bad match. The only thing was night one was some of the coldest I have ever been. Like, wrapped up, because we knew it was an open air stadium, and it was still, I couldn't feel my hands by the time we left. It was so cold. And then I wrapped up for night two, and it was roasting, and I ended up having to take layers off. Bloody typical.
Rookie mistake. I mean, that's prime opportunity for WWE, and exclusive heated jackets or hand warmers.
Literally, I would have bought so much. They didn't even have, because we went to merch. So we tried to get into the stadium early so that we were there, we were seated, we could just chill, and then we were sitting out and we were like, oh, it's quite cold. And I didn't have a hat, and I didn't even have a hoodie on. I just had a jacket. So I was like, I really want something to kind of heat me up from the head. And I was like, I'm going to go to merch, see if they've got any hats, even like a skip cap, like baseball cap style. They didn't have a single thing. I was about to spend so much money on hats. I would have bought like 4 and just piled them on, but no. So they need to think about that. If it's in an open air stadium in a northeast state, WWE, it's Mania, put some hats on sale, please.
I would have laughed my ass off if there was like, the only hat was a signed John Cena hat in like an acrylic case, and there's some collector like, I want that from my mother's basement. I want that to buy that, and then you're just like, thank you.
I would have been that desperate. 5, yeah, sure. I don't care. I don't want the certificate of authentication. It's going straight on my head, right?
Oh my words. But of course, one of the big moments from that Mania was obviously Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns, becoming the WWE Undisputed Champion. For somebody who was in the building, what was the atmosphere like for that moment?
Oh, that whole match was insane. Like, genuinely, I think I must have chopped my partner about 14 times. Every time someone's entrance music hit, I went and hit him out of excitement. Like, genuine. There was one point I went to do it again, and he grabbed me. Like, he was like, "Stop hitting me!" I was like, "I can't. I'm too excited." Like, when the gong went off, for the Undertaker, I was like, "Oh my god!" When the Shield music hit, I was like, "Oh my god!" And he was like, "You need to calm down." I was like, "I can't. This is amazing." And then when he finally won, it was like a big, because every time a new person came, I was like, "He's not winning this. Roman's retaining." Like, they've teased us for 2 years in a row now. They're going to do it again. So I genuinely didn't believe he was going to win until we got the 1, 2, 3. It was, and then it was a big relief. Chill, panic over. But yeah, that whole main event was just an absolute cluster in the best way possible.
It felt like it watching at home until like 4 or 5 in the morning, where sleep deprivation starting to kick in. You're like, yay, no bed. But hey, that's the joys of a WrestleMania, especially. And of course, with Mania weekend, well, they have this WWE World where it's a big showcase of collectibles, memorabilias. Did you go to that by any chance, Ellie?
We only went into the shop. We didn't
Ah.
pay for any WWE World. We didn't arrive. So we got into Philadelphia on the Thursday night. So we didn't arrive till like, I want to say we didn't get to our Airbnb till like 8 p.m. on the Thursday. So it was quite late. And then we kind of wanted to see some of Philadelphia as well. We wanted to be kind of touristy. So we actually didn't do a lot of non-WrestleMania, SmackDown, Raw, NXT. And I think if we do another Mania, we would probably go to like some GCW shows, like indie shows, but we didn't. We just did all that. I really wanted to get Bailey meet and greet for WWE World. I kept trying, and they kept selling out in 3 seconds, and I was like, oh. I think that would be the only person I would have paid to meet. But I kept missing it. I was working, and I missed the sale. So. But just Philadelphia itself was a great city. We got up at 5 a.m. on the Sunday to go watch the Celtic game in a pub. It was WrestleMania Sunday was a long day for us. So Celtic game, NXT, WrestleMania. It was a very, very long day, but it was a very good day.
Oh, it's a good day all around, and you love to enjoy it. And of course, people are always speculating, oh, WrestleMania in the UK, will it happen? Will it not happen? Could it happen? Could it not happen? But one thing I would love to know for yourself, Ellie, what city do you think would be best to hold it for that WrestleMania weekend vibe, for allowing independent shows to put on the biggest shows they can, the culture of the city, and allowing people to do other things? Just say Edinburgh is the correct answer.
There's no big... I mean, I think Murrayfield could hold a good WrestleMania, especially after being there for Taylor Swift. Like, it's a surprisingly well-connected stadium, and I'm used to to Glasgow stadiums that unless you're walking, you're not getting away from this stadium. But I'm just thinking of the smaller venues to hold the indie shows. There's no unless you were going to do SmackDown and Raw in Tynecastle, I don't think there's not a smaller arena to do SmackDown and Raw. Like, whereas you could do WrestleMania at Celtic Park and then have SmackDown and Raw in the Hydro sort of thing. I think it would be cool if they were going to do WrestleMania UK to kind of do it like they do for like the World Cup, where the whole country hosts it. So you could have WrestleMania UK or WrestleMania Scotland, and then you've got like WrestleMania's at Murrayfield, but like SmackDown and Raw's in Glasgow, and then NXT's up in Aberdeen. Make it a whole countrywide affair. Obviously a bit rubbish for folk trying to book accommodation, but
come on, we've got free open laws. We can travel across all the farms and get there.
Exactly.
There's no way to stop us. I mean, I wonder though if it is in Scotland, if we see CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a match, he's going to be wearing a Celtic gear and Drew's with the Rangers gear, because that's just going to cause more problems.
I really thought it was happening at Clash of the Castle. See when he was coming out, I was like, oh, if he's wearing this Celtic top, I'm going to pop off. Unfortunately, no. But one day it's going to happen. I hope their blood feud final match. The old firm, but in WWE.
That's going to cause a national tragedy. That's going to bring back the wars. It's going to be bad.
It's going to get football banned in this country, I think.
That's what does it. It's like, what caused the great football ban of 2026 in Scotland? Anaconda Vice.
Yeah.
You had to live it, brother. You had to live it. That's just the amazing joy of it. But of course, Ellie, you've got story, as I say, and we had like a little bit of interruptions because we like the noise, we like to keep us alert. Of course,
that's just my cat. That's fine.
That's number 8, folks. 8 cat interruptions we've had on this show.
There we go. There he is.
I'm gonna have to pay his
Center
fee
of
now.
attention.
How much does he charge? How much is his appearance fee? I'll make sure he gets a cut.
It's just 3 packets of Dreamies. I think I'll do them. Yeah.
I can do 2. I'm a bit cheap.
We'll discuss this later.
Fair dues. But of course, as I say, once a fan, always a fan. But you'd be a fan that would take an extra step into the square circle itself. What is your journey like entering Scottish wrestling scene itself?
I honestly just did it on a whim. I was watching Glow on Netflix, like the 80s women's wrestling, and they had a wee training montage in that, and I was like, oh, that looks quite fun. And then I was at one of the Fierce Female shows in the Shed. I can't remember which one, but this was in early 2017. And I was like, oh, if they can do it, then surely I can do it. So it was on a whim. I think I'd been watching Glow. I'd been to this Fierce Female show, and I think genuinely on the bus home from this Fierce Female show, I was like, can you learn to wrestle in Scotland? Because I was like, surely if there's Scottish wrestlers, there must be a school. Like, they can't all have gone off to America and learn. And then the Asylum was the first one that popped up on Google. It was the closest one to my house. So I was like, how did you join? And then it just kind of spiraled from there. So I think it was October 2017, the first time I had a wrestling class. And then the way the Asylum works is you do like 3 lots of 8 weeks of beginners courses. Somehow managed to get through that. God knows how, because back then I was very unfit. Like, zero, there's not an athletic bone in my body. Everything has been worked for. I'm not naturally gifted, shall we say. And like that first day at the Asylum, I couldn't do a forward roll. I could barely do 20 squats in a row. Like, this is how unfit we're talking here. The only exercise I'd really been doing until I joined the Asylum was like running. I was doing like 10Ks and things like that. But once you start running, you just run until you stop. Like, I actually don't think running is obviously hard, but it's not that hard once you're in the rhythm of it. Whereas rolls in wrestling, that took me a long time. And I was also, probably still am, just a bit of a scaredy cat. So they'd ask, the first time I took a bump, I think I had to like psych myself up for like a good 20 minutes just to do a bump on a crash mat. Like, it wasn't even onto the canvas, it was onto a crash mat. And it was just that kind of like thing where I had like Lionheart holding my hand and going like, you can do this. And I was like, I don't think I can. And there was a point, I had a bit of a reputation for my first year in the Asylum of just crying all the time because I was scared. So I was just like, I can't do it. I'd start crying and they'd give me a pep talk and then I'd do it first time and then they'd all laugh at me, like in a jokey way. And I was like, but that would happen a lot. I would cry a lot. I think I cry less now. I still cry a lot, but I cry less now. I think I've overcome most of my fears. But yeah, I never had this big I'm always very jealous of the folk I see on Instagram, and it's like pictures of them as a child watching wrestling and being like, this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And I'm like, I at 7 I wanted to be a marine biologist. So I didn't even know wrestling was a thing when I was wee. So I get jealous when people are like, I'm sharing rings with people, this is their like lifelong ambition, and I'm like, I'm such a fraud. I did this on a whim at 21. I need to get out my own head. But yeah, as I said, everything I've done training and wrestling, it's all, I'm not naturally gifted. It's all been very much worked for. A lot of hours spent in the ring, in the gym, learning to do a forward roll, learning to do, the only thing I could do was a handstand and a cartwheel, hence the cartwheel splash, because I could do a cartwheel.
Wow. Yeah, it shows the emotion's a good thing. It shows that you're dedicated to something, and when you cry, it's because something has made you care. Heck, I cried at All In last year when I was told it was $10.50 a pint in Wembley. That's something I can't personally deal with. It's hang on, who's coming back?
I won't even bring up the drinks prices at Mania. That was disgusting. It was.
Yeah, that's why I'm scared for Vegas. I'm either gonna have to gamble all my money to get a drink or do something. I don't know. I'll find a way. A puddle water's free, right? That'll do me fine.
Yeah.
But of course, you mentioned Lionheart there, showing you a bit of support as well. And I've spoken to people who've learned under Lionheart. I've spoken to people who have known Lionheart, and he is obviously somebody who's such a integral part of our scene. For yourself, Ellie, what was it like just getting to share a moment with Lionheart?
Oh, I genuinely. So I was talking about like the asylum. You have to like, you do three blocks of 8 weeks, and you have to pass each week to continue. Pass each block, sorry, to get into the next one, and then you have to pass your final induction at the end of the 24 weeks to get into the main asylum class. And I genuinely don't think I would have passed any of those assessments if Lionheart didn't believe in me, because I don't think I believed in myself at the time, and he was like, no, you've got this, you're so teachable, like even to things like the way that the induction works is they basically just get you to run like a wee quick simple match with all the bits they've taught you in those 8 weeks. And I probably wasn't able, I definitely wasn't able to do every single bit perfectly, but Lionheart took me to the side and he was like, look, I believe you've got something. You're very, very teachable. It's not quite there yet, but you've got it. So we're going to pass you. And I honestly like broke down at that point. But yeah, he was the first person I think properly believed that there was something in me that wasn't there yet, and it definitely wasn't there yet, but especially not in 2018. But he saw the vision, and I will be eternally grateful to him for seeing the vision.
Absolutely. You know, some people always say, you know, Lionheart was a fanny, but he truly was a hero, and
Yeah,
a good man we sadly don't have anymore.
definitely.
But thank you, Lionheart, of course. Of course, Ellie, you know, you've gone on to do great things as well. And within wrestling, fans, they like to know everything. They like to document everything as well. And obviously, your career is a part of Tony Khan's favorite website, cagematch.com. Obviously, great information zeitgeist as it is. To know that there's people actively looking at your career and documenting it on this platform, that thousands or even millions of people that could be viewing it, how does that feel to know that you have such a showcase on your career?
It's a bit weird. I know I quite like it. Cage Match is a bit wrong for me though. If you were able to update your own Cage Match, I would, because it's got missing stuff. But that's me being a pedant. I am very type A, so I'm like, it's missing things. I think finding out I had a cage match was cool. I was like, oh, finding out my name was on Wikipedia, that was cool. I was like, oh, I made it. That's all I need. I can retire now. I don't think I have a Wikipedia page, but my name is written there. It was under there's a Wikipedia page about the ICW Women's World Championship tournament that I was in, and my name is written there in the brackets, and I was like, that's me. I'm on Wikipedia. Let's go.
Made it on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Every university lecture's absolute hatred.
Yes.
I mean, I'll take that. That's a good thing to be a part of Wikipedia. Hell yes.
Yeah.
But obviously, ICW, a show that you watched as a fan, got to train as, and you got to be a part of ICW. And as well, at that point, ICW was a part of WWE. It was on the network. And obviously, there's a picture of you on the thumbnail as well on the network page at that time. That's like a full circle moment. Like, holy shit.
Very, very surreal. Like, honestly, so grateful to ICW for taking a chance on me. I hadn't had a single match. Like, I debuted for ICW against Molly Spartan on the WWE Network, which is insane. And so grateful for them taking a chance on me. The guys backstage at ICW had obviously never seen me wrestle before. They were taking my coach's word. It was Jack Jester that put me forward. He was like, I think you're ready for this. I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. Let's go. Like, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to go. And I will be eternally grateful for them for taking a chance on me and letting me have so many matches against some like top talent. So like Molly Spartan, Angel Hayes. I got a match against Alexis Falcon, Casey Owens. Like, I got to wrestle the top girls in the UK for ICW, and I'll be eternally grateful. Like, looking back on it, it's mental, absolutely mental. And I don't think I was ready, but it needed to happen. I wouldn't be the Ellie Armstrong I am now if I hadn't had all of the ICW experiences. But I just wish I had the experience I have now back then, which is kind of paradoxical. But I think the matches I had for ICW, especially the singles matches, were good. But I think if I went back and did them now, they could be even better.
Absolutely. I mean, it is very paradoxical because you wouldn't have gotten to the moment that you are now to be the best version of yourself you could be without those moments in the past, but then you want to improve upon those moments in the past.
Yeah.
Timey-wimey, bibbly-bobbly stuff. You know,
yes,
it goes
exactly.
But obviously you made your name in other places as well, and obviously Girders is a place that has been so integral to the development of people's
Shout out. You can't really see the top, but it is.
Hey. I just have a 3-piece. No merching stuff
just
here.
the 3-piece.
Hey, it's ripped and teared in some places because it's old, but I like a classic. Obviously, Girders provides such a great place for people to learn, develop. The gym there's phenomenal as well. Obviously, Molly's talked about it a lot. I know Tommy Lockhart has, and Mark McAllister. I'm sure we'll get into his little journey soon. But for yourself, Girders, what is it that Girders provides for yourself that you feel so beneficial?
I think, just as you said, it's an all-rounder. So I've moved now, so it's not the exact same anymore. But when I used to live in Parkhead, round the corner from Girders, and as you said, it was a gym, it was training. I think I spent more time there than I probably spent at my actual shoot job, like between wrestling training and the gym. And it has everything, and it's just such a welcoming environment. Like, I don't feel embarrassed to mess up because everyone there's grand. Like, and the ring's good, like the ring's solid. The facilities are so good, and the coaches are class. Like, though you can have a laugh with them, but they're also teaching me to be better, and not just going, run this drill, right, cool, let's move on to the next thing. They'll take the time to go, I don't like that, let's do it again until it's better. And yeah, I went back, I was out for a wee bit because I sprained my knee, and then when I went back, I was like, oh, I'd forgotten how intense this was. Girders training can be intense, but it's really good. And honestly, there's so many classes of Girders in a week. Like, you've even got the dojo, so if you're a member of Girders, you can go to Looking Sharp's dojo. You've got WrestleFit. Like, it keeps you on your toes for sure.
It really has a branching network of availabilities for people to learn as well, from obviously Luking's dojo and just all that other areas. I know as well seminars have been a great part of Girders as well. I know Enzo's been there, and I know Jim Smallman, who's now WWE's International Talent Scout, was at Girders one day. Were you at any of those days?
Yes. The Enzo one, mad, that guy can talk. Like, I knew he could talk because I'd watched him on WWE and stuff, but he was just telling us stories, and I was just sitting there like, oh my god, like, I was so enthralled. And I think he was talking about like driving to a show, but I was like, just the way he was able to tell stories, I was like, I'm so enthralled in this, I don't know where this is going. And then the opportunity to perform in front of Jim Smallman was insane. That was when I got the message that was happening. I was like, oh, freaking out. Like, but Jim was so lovely. Like, he put you at ease. We'd obviously been told to prepare some stuff, and he had such good feedback. And we did like wee short promos, wee short matches, and it was terrifying. Like, I was like, because I might, this will sound weird, but because I feel like I do come across quite mouthy, but I'm not a big talker at all. Like, I am actually quite a quiet person. And then I don't like doing live promos. I don't mind a film promo, but I'm not a great live promo. So to stand there in front of the guy who writes the promos for the WWE, or at least used to, and have to cut something that I've been writing for 5 days, I was like, right, just don't forget it. But I think he gave me some good feedback. It was really good. And obviously that Jim Smallman seminar worked out great. Like, we were filming this on a Saturday morning. Last night SmackDown was at the O2 and we had Levi and Kez as extras for the WWE from Girders, which is insane. That's so cool for them. And that all came from that Jim Smallman seminar. So training at Girders will get you to the O2 for the WWE, which is insane.
Oh, absolutely mental. You know, I was watching it last night and I saw Tate Mayfair's and James Ellis. I thought I was like Brad Pitt in that meme. Like, what? There he is. There they are. I've seen them. I've seen my boys. And I was like, yes, that is the awesome part of it. And it just shows that wherever you could go, there's possible bigger opportunities in the future if you stick time there, because it will be rewarding. And I know obviously Girders perform at other great venues like a Comic-Con where you would cosplay as Shigo, I believe, as well.
Yeah. That all came around because when I got my snake gear, and then I dyed my hair obviously to match the snake gear, and then it was all good. Most folks seemed to get that it was a Taylor Swift reference and that my favorite color is green, so instead of having red snakes I had green. But then I was at the merch stand one day and we'd just finished a show, and this I want to say woman, I think she was a woman, I was going to say girl, but then I think she was older, came up to me and she was like, this was my first wrestling show. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like, you were great. And I was like, thank you. You don't need to say that. And she was like, is your gear, is it like Shigo? And I was like, it's Taylor Swift. But that put the seed in my head and I was like, I should get Shigo gear. That would be cool as fuck. But I wasn't going to do the full long sleeves and the long, because I made that mistake with my orange gear of having a sleeve and then found out that everyone just slides down your arm when you try and pick them up. So I was like, we're not doing sleeves again. I'm not winning matches because people keep sliding off me. So we'll go normal singlet. And then I had that made and I actually had it just sitting in my suitcase for months because I was like, I don't want to just whap this out one day, new gear, and it just kind of just on a normal show. So I just kind of kept it there. I had it for maybe like 5 months unused. No one knew about it. And then I got the message asking if I wanted to do Comic-Con. And I was like, I've got Shigo gear. This is perfect. Because obviously this was Aaron Gardner's second year of doing Comic-Con and I couldn't make it last year. Or the first year that we did it because I think I was on holiday or something. So to get to do it this year, I was like, oh, I've got the perfect gear. I'm so glad I saved it for this moment because then I can come out. And it was great. And getting to wrestle at Comic-Con was like a bucket list thing. And I got to wrestle Daisy Jenkins, who I would wrestle her every day of the week. Like, what a worker, honestly. She's just so good. She's great. I think we could have some great matches. And that was our first ever singles match together at Comic-Con. And I think it was great. It was just a shame there was only about 10 folk there because it was quite late in the day. But it'll hopefully get uploaded to Girders Clash on YouTube and then people can watch it.
Oh, that's gonna be like one of WWE's Vault episodes. Like, it's this long lost match that's never seen the test of time. It's over there with a still game taping from the Hydro back in like 2012. It's a relic. But I mean, Shigo, good choice. But I mean, is there any other characters we can expect you to cosplay in the future?
Oh, I keep thinking about this. This is a good question because I do think about this a lot, but I'm not sure I've come up with one that I'm confident I could pull off well because I'd never want to just do a straight up cosplay where I would always adapt to my kind of singlet style, the high neck, the kind of strapless obviously, so sleeveless. But I'm not sure. I have been thinking about this for a while because I think I am due new gear, but we'll see. I'll keep you in suspense for that one, I think.
Recommendation? What about one of the Powerpuff Girls?
Oh,
I'm just saying. I have a
You're,
creative
get,
mind.
you're trying to get exclusives here that I'm not willing to give.
I'm sorry, it's my job. I'm trying to do my best here. That's what people pay me for. But I'm trying. But of course, we've talked a lot about girders, but obviously there's other companies you've made your name for. Before we get into probably one of the big ones, I want to talk about TNT Extreme, where you were a part of FA's Big Gay Brunch.
Yeah.
That show means a lot to a lot of people. It's a big show in the States as well, and obviously being part of the UK, which I believe it was his first year as well. What was that like being a part of that?
That was insane. Like it was one of the best locker rooms I've ever been in. Like, it was just so like fun. Everyone was amazing. I was meeting a lot of these people for the first time. So we were driving down and I was like, I'm so scared because I'm gonna have to introduce myself to a lot of folk, and I was at the time, and I am still quite a relatively unknown name in the UK scene. So I was like, well, a lot of these people aren't going to know who I am, but we'll do the best. I think I was only in that Rumble for about 5 minutes, but it's up there with some of the best 5 minutes of my whole career. And like, I met folk down there that I still talk to today, that I still even haven't had a full singles tag any other than a Rumble match with, but are on my list. But I wouldn't have got on that TNT Big Gay Brunch if it wasn't for Shay Mooney. He put his neck out for me, recommended me to go down, and I will be eternally grateful for that, because I think that put me on some extra folks' radars, just that 5 minutes in that Rumble.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shay was on this show in its first season, and I'm appreciative to him for what he helped me do in my early days and what he's also done within Scottish wrestling in itself.
Yeah,
monumental. One of the greats up there. And of course, we've got to talk about CPW, Ravie-Davie's Community Pro Wrestling. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's take it all back. Making your debut for CPW. How did that initial story come about?
I think he just texted me and asked me. He was like, do you want to come on? He was like, I'm building this family-friendly brand. He wanted like a strong female division, and I think we had that, especially even in the first show. It was me versus Anastasia, who obviously isn't wrestling anymore, but that was great. And it was up until CPW, I hadn't worked heel at all. I was always face, and there was like situations where I'd done some face matches, and I'd taken the more heelish role, but I hadn't worked full heel before. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was only my second match with a live audience, the first CPW show. It might have been the first, but I think myself versus Angel Hayes at ICW was my first match with a live audience. But I could be getting these round the other way. You can put a wee asterisk here if I'm wrong. But so it was one of my first matches with a live audience. It was my first match working heel, and I was terrified because it was a new company. It was also my first family friendly show, just full stop. So I was very conscious that I couldn't swear. ICW, we're obviously like, don't overuse swearing because it starts to lose its edge and effect after a point if you're just going which for me in my personal life, I do swear a lot. So but I get what they're saying. So I was like, family friendly, don't swear at the children, don't swear at the children. I know we're in Govan and they're going to swear at me, but don't swear at the children. Like, I think I did swear at the children, unfortunately, but they were swearing at me, so it's fine. But that was, and it was so good to talk to Davey before that first show, and he just outlined, he was like, I'm going to take the women's division seriously, and I was like, you better, like, I'm not gonna. But all that sort of thing, like, and I think he's stuck to his word. Like, he's constantly bringing in like world-class talent for me to defend my belt against, beat. And I'll be forever grateful to CPW and the opportunities it continues to afford me, because as much as I disagree with Davey and his standpoints on non-veganism, blah blah blah, he has been very good to me in getting me world-class talent. Debbie Keitel, Emerson Jane, the match I had with Cody Zero a couple of weeks ago in Drum Chapel, that was an absolute banger. And I would like to wrestle. I'm publicly putting it out here. I would like to wrestle Corey Zero again. She is welcome to come back and challenge me for the CPW title anytime that she wants.
Well, bookers, get on the phone and get that booked right now. You have a star-studding match right there for you. But of course, as well, we can't mention CPW without yourself being the inaugural CPW Women's Champion as well.
The only 2-time champion in CPW, I would like to point out.
Oh, yes, of course, absolutely.
We don't count the hardcore. We don't count the hardcore titles. So the only proper 2-time champion in CPW. Thank you.
Exactly. The true thing. We'll make sure that's on your Wikipedia page when that gets put up and fully done as well. But of course, it was a tournament. Freeway, yourself, Emerson Jane, and Nicole Jasmine.
Yeah.
The whole presence I feel about winning your first championship is so important for people, because it's a sign of that you've made it. You've evolved yourself to a point where a company trusts you with their championship. So I want to know the moment that 1, 2, 3 hit and you were the first CPW Women's Champion. What did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. I had to stop myself crying in the ring, because I was like, that doesn't really fit the whole character I've gone for, where I know I'm better than everyone else. I should be expecting this sort of thing. As soon as I went back through that curtain, the floodgates opened, but I really had to stop myself crying. But I remember when Davey told me that it would be me as the first ever women's champion, and I was like, are you sure? Like, they're so... I didn't believe it. I was like, I didn't believe it until... I actually don't think I believed it until the 1, 2, 3 actually happened, because I was still like, oh no, they're just playing jokes on me. Someone's actually gonna, like, either Emerson or Nicole's just gonna roll me up and like shoot pin me here, and it's all been a big practical joke. Haha, like my partner and my brother and my friends are in the audience, and they're not gonna see me win, because that's ridiculous. But no, it meant a lot. And if I had been a babyface, I would have been in tears in that ring. But no, I had to keep the kayfabe going. Had to raise my hand triumphantly in victory.
Well, victory nonetheless. You had a great first reign, of course, defeating the likes of Celine, Anita Vaughn, Debbie Keitel, but obviously you would lose it to Nicole Jasmine for your first reign. But success again, second reign, of course.
Long may it continue.
Long may it reign. Yes, of course, absolutely. Praise be. But I want to know, how do you want to differentiate your second run from your first run as champion?
I'm not fighting the uphill battle myself this time. I've got my tag team partner, Martin McAllister. We've got our revolutionaries. We've got Kev In, James Diaz. We've got Abby. There's strength in numbers, and I felt like my first reign, people were constantly getting added to my matches. It was constantly the numbers advantage against me, and we saw that in the way that I lost my belt the first time. I wasn't pinned. I was never given a rematch for it. The numbers match advantage was always against me. I think I had one singles match to defend my belt in my first reign, and that was against Celine, and that was my first defense in Helensburgh. Because Celine was also my first defense of this reign, so I like the symmetry of that. But this time I had the numbers advantage. I had Martin McAllister there to help me. I had Planet A's Revolutionaries there to help me and make sure that the establishment can't turn this on me again.
Well, fair play, fair play. You got to have every initiative you can to make sure you still have that belt at the end of the day. But I want to know, I like custom belts. I'm a belts guy. My wallet can attest to that. Are we ever going to see it with a green strap?
Insider here, we chose the pink strap, so we were worried. So Ravie-Davie had a meeting with the women's division at the time, and he was like, what do you want the women's belt to look like? Because obviously I say the men's heavyweight championship, it doesn't say men on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no gender on that. It just says heavyweight. So, but the heavyweight title has a black strap. The cruiserweight title, again, doesn't say men on it. I don't think I qualify for cruiserweight, unfortunately, though. But it doesn't say men on it. Hadn't been announced at the time, but he had made it. So we knew that had the white strap. The tag titles had the black strap. Again, tag titles don't have a gender on them. Just planting these seeds here. So he was like, what, do you want a black strap on the women's title? Do you want a white one? Or do you want something else to differentiate it? And we were all like, it would be cool if it's pink, because I think a lot of companies shy away and go like, oh, if we make the women's title pink, people will think we're being condescending because, oh, girl, got to be pink. And I'm like, oh my girl, I love pink. My kitchen's pink. Like, it's my second favorite color. Guess my favorite color. But pink is my second favorite color. And there should be no shame in girls liking pink. I honestly think embrace your femininity. I mean, and so there was a meeting with CPW management and the women's roster, and we all agreed, yeah, pink, slay, stunning. So I did have a hand in the strap being pink. Going back, I should have made it green. If I knew I was going to have such lengthy reins, probably should have underhandedly got the green in there. But at the time, my hair wasn't green, so my hair was still blonde. So it could have gone either way. I could have dyed my hair pink. You never know. If I could afford to have a Daniel Bryan-esque hemp belt made, oh, I would. I almost bought that replica belt. If I hadn't been skint at the time, I would own that. That is the best belt. It goes Daniel Bryan hemp belt, big gold belt, Naomi's glow-in-the-dark belt, and then all the rest of them. I don't know.
The old hemp belt, quite a replica it was. I mean, it was on the shop for a while. It's no longer there, obviously. But I mean, are you a bit sad that Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson never did it for his AEW World Title reign, made it a hemp AEW belt?
Like, yeah, is that I think it's obvious that I've based a lot of my character on Daniel Bryan's Planet's Champion run, because I think it's the best thing ever done in wrestling. It's so good, and making the belt not leather is hilarious. I wish our belts weren't leather, but some compromises have to be made. And I just think making it wood and hemp is so good. It's excellent. And as I said, if it was still in the WWE shop, I probably would own it. But I didn't get in there in time. If anyone wants to send me one, DM me.
Who knows? Maybe CPW have a secret Santa at the festive periods, and maybe you can be like, "Hey, just saying."
Maybe.
That's the joys of it. And of course, I'm sure I've had Martin on, and I've had him on from two different sides of his viewpoints. One when he was on his losing streak, and one after, and he's clearly a different man now. And I feel like it is all down to this Planet A. Now, I've kept my eyes on it. I've seen the work you've done. I've seen you've expanded. Let's have a wee discussion about it. What Planet A's whole formation. How did you come about with this group and this idea and this mission and goal within Scottish wrestling?
I think just a cause comes around when you've got two like-minded individuals who are a bit apart from the norm and have both had kind of the establishment, so to say, against them. So in different ways. Martin had his losing streak. It was just that sort of way where he was almost there for so many, especially towards the end. Every time, so close, someone would stop it. It wasn't even his opponent. It was usually interference. It was usually dirty tactics. Whereas I had the conversely, my first title reign, people were always getting injected into my matches. The numbers of matches were always against me. And then just like-minded, two vegans out with the normal status quo of wrestling where everything's all meat, protein, everyone's covered in leather, all that nonsense. So I think just like-minded individuals are going to be drawn together, especially if they share the same sort of values and they've had a similar sort of experience. So I think it was always natural that we would end up teaming up in some sort of way. And I think we just we had a lot of discussions, and then when it came to the ladder match in Maryhill, where I won ticket to the top, I knew he was there. We'd had a discussion. If I needed help, he'd be there to help me.
It's a good partnership. You've done great stuff in CPW. I know you were at Power Pro recently as well.
Yeah.
A good opportunity. But, obviously, Martin's a two-time guest of this show. I support Martin all the way. And, you're a guest of this show now as well. And I do everything I can for the guests. So, I do my bit of exclusive. We're on our journey to episode 200 while I'll be having guests return on this platform for previous shows. I think maybe I should dedicate a full episode to Planet A. Maybe I should allow you.
I think so. We've got a lot of things to get out there. The Planet A's mission statement needs to be heard, and I think Soul Sessions is a great platform for us to get that mission statement across.
Oh, no. Well, hey, you know what? We'll announce it right now. Planet A will be one of the returning guests for the journey to episode 200. A milestone, and I think it's better to have a team that's got a milestone message. Absolute goal to have as well. Ellie, as well, there's great companies up and down this. There's great companies up and down this country that offer great opportunities for women. Obviously, we've had progress with Rio's title reign, Rev Pro with Mercedes Moné now holding the belt, one of the biggest stars. But there's a company that I've heard a lot of women want to go to is Pro Wrestling Eve, a company that offers so much with a great wide array of women from the likes of Nightshade, Alex Windsor, Ellie Taylor, and obviously Will Ospreay is kind of like the guy who's now contributing to that, who's one of the biggest stars in the world right now. Is Eve one of your biggest goals?
I would say Eve is the goal for me. Like if I even make it onto one Eve show, then I can retire happy. Like it took me a while to find out about Eve. I think I'd been watching wrestling for maybe a couple of years before Eve came onto my radar, and then I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. I think one of the first Eve matches I watched was Kaylee Ray, now Alba Fire, versus Viper Piper Niven. And they were taking it so seriously, but it was also so jokey and the kind of at the same time. And I think it's very clear that's what I like. I like serious, jokey wrestling. So that one, I was like, I just seen it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I've just keep watching more and more Eve matches. I try and watch them live because obviously they put them on YouTube quite a lot. Mm-hmm. So I try, if I'm not booked, then I'm watching them on YouTube. If I've not got a show that weekend. But yeah, as I said, if I make it to Eve, then I can retire happy. That's the goal in wrestling for me. I don't need WWE. I don't need AEW. Get me on Pro Wrestling Eve.
It's an exceptional company as well. I've had people on it from the likes of Alex Windsor and Nightshade, and they talk about how much of a great company it is, and obviously that platform as well, because there is sort of that culture within sort of wrestling that they just have the one women's match and that's it. But Eve, full women for women, and it allows that opportunity as well. It truly is important, isn't it? Just of what that company's whole existence means, right?
I think so. I think it's just beyond. I think you picked up on it there. A lot of companies seem to have we have one women's match and that's it. And the women's match has to be for the women's title. We can't have any secondary women's storylines at all. We have the women's title match and that's it. So I think to give, which means obviously means that then there's less space, so to say, for women. So there's so many talented women in wrestling, especially in the UK. And I think Eve gives them the chance that they're not all fighting over this one slot on the card. Eve gives them the chance that they can all, they're the whole card, they're the main event, and then let them show what they can do. Like, I think I'd kill to be on Eve. I want to wrestle every single person on that Eve roster. That would be the dream.
Oh, come on. You must have, there's one, right? Is there one that's the goal? One that's the dream?
Oh, this is like taking a child to a pick and mix and saying you can only have one. This is so cruel. I think, I mean, I would love to wrestle Lucia Lee. I think she's just incredible. She's the next one of the girls in the UK that's going to make it big, big, big. Like, she's absolutely excellent. And yeah, I would like to wrestle Lucia Lee for sure. She's making her splash in Eve right now. I think her and Aluna, they're getting those tag titles at the next Eve show. So yeah, I would like to wrestle Lucia Lee for sure.
Oh, that'd be an exceptional match. Was on even Aluna as well. Aluna's an exceptional talent as well. I mean, if I had to say one, I'd love to see you against Nina Samuels. I think that'd be a very amazing matchup.
Yeah. She's so good. She's so good. And so jacked as well. Intimidatingly so.
Yeah, even I get a bit timid and scared and hype on anything I can. But I mean, you know, she's the host of the Nina Samuels shows. Maybe she thinks it's the best show, but this is a good show as well that we're on here right now. I like my platform. I'm going to try and promote it the best I can. But obviously as well, internationally, women's wrestling is thriving as well. You have the likes of Mercedes Moné, Camille, Toni Storm in AEW, WWE. You have Rhea Ripley, who basically every guy on the internet is drooling over.
Yeah. And me.
Fair dues. And obviously Bayley, Tiffany Stratton as well, TNA with Dani Luna, Ash by Elegance. Women's wrestling really is on fire. Do you feel like right now is the best period for women's wrestling, Ellie?
I would say so. I think in the last sort of like 10-ish years, there's been like the three distinct phases of women's wrestling. There've been the kind of like, there was like the kind of give divas a chance era where you had like them getting their WrestleMania matches cut, but then you also had the 4 horsewomen in NXT who were killing it and proving that the divas should get a chance. And then you had like the Evolution pay-per-view. I think that was kind of like the second big, like, look at all of we've managed to fill a whole pay-per-view, just women, all of them having their own storylines, all of them being amazing. I loved that pay-per-view. I don't know why they've not done a second one. Genuinely, like, look at the roster they've got. It would be even better than the first one. And I think like just now where they're just, I don't think you even need to kind of give divas their chance because they will. Like, we obviously had Bianca and Sasha headline in WrestleMania, so we've had, I think, put me on the spot, it's a Saturday morning here, we've definitely had more women headline WrestleMania, so it's not like we're slowly running out of first things for women, so, and I think it levels the playing field a wee bit, especially now we've got like the women's IC title, we've got the women's US title. There's no longer a 20 roster women's division going for one belt. There's so many more belts. It gives the kind of mid-carders, so to say, their chance to shine without having to go up against the proper like top of their game. But I do kind of also, in a weird way, I kind of hinted at this earlier, I'm very much for, I suppose it just depends on your viewpoint, because obviously some people see it as men beating up women, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with the whole splitting things into gender divisions in wrestling, because we all know it's not real. Like, I know, I'm sorry. And everyone in the match has consented to being in that. They know what they're getting in for. And like I'm a lot bigger than most of the women on the UK scene. I like to think I'm pretty strong. I'm really not as strong as I could be right now because I'm focusing on running. I'm training for a marathon. I don't know if anyone's heard. I don't shut up about it. So I'm running a lot more than I'm lifting right now. I'm basically doing kind of more body weight strength stuff just so my knees don't give up. But I think when I'm properly strength training, I'm just as strong as half the guys. Some of the guys are freaks and I'm never going to be as strong as that, but I think I'm just as strong as half the guys. I'm bigger than half the guys, like even just weight wise. So why can't I wrestle them? You know? And I don't think the WWE will ever get there because they are an American company. Oh, you've obviously got Christian traditional America who are probably never going to be happy with a man hitting a woman. But I think some of the indies, especially like GCW, that sort of kind of indie, I think there will be a time where there's no gender divisions. You've just got you've got your heavyweight championship, you've got your cruiserweight, and then you've maybe got like another named belt, like say like an intercontinental or an interpromotional championship that just kind of goes. I think Girders has been doing this quite well. Like Girders has never had any gender division. It's never announced. If I was to go wrestle Moxie Malone or Angel Hayes on a Girders show, I don't think it's ever been announced as a women's divisions match.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously no woman has won the Girders heavyweight championship yet, but it could happen. I honestly thought Molly Spartan was going to be the first Girders champion. I put my money on. I know I was in the tournament. I still had my money on Molly Spartan, and obviously we've had Moxie Malone as King of the Fling. We had the King Moxie reign. So I think the way Girders is doing it is really, I think that's how it should be on the indie scene. I get why the bigger companies probably won't do it because of traditional Christian America, but I think there's a lot of indie companies who don't necessarily solely cater to the family-friendly audience. Like I think Girders and maybe Disco as well kind of like skim that line where you get a lot of adult wrestling fans coming along because they love wrestling, but then you've also got your kids in the crowd who just, hey, wrestling. So you have to kind of cater to both of those audiences, and I think having a gender gap, I don't think it's necessary, so to say.
I do absolutely agree with your point as well, Ellie, because I feel like if you put everything in genderization, obviously there's people that don't reconcile as a gender, they're non-binary.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where do they place? You're placing them in somewhere they might not feel comfortable. And if you put everything as like, if you have 4 men's belt and then 4 women's belt, do you have the roster that supplies that? And obviously, you know, it's obviously up to the bookers at that point, but you don't introduce something if you don't have the plans or the promotions in place, because you don't want to throw in 4 tag teams that's just single wrestlers are going to break up in like 4 months. You need to have,
exactly.
you need to have the backbone behind it. And I've always said tag belts should be intergender because you get more stories opportunities. I mean, imagine we get Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley as a run as Terror Twins, or Miz and Maurice.
Yeah. And obviously I'm not even saying that the tag thing, because obviously I am in a mixed tag team, like, but we have like so many. You brought up the non-binary and like wrestlers. Yeah, where do they fit in exactly? You brought up something else and I completely forgot. It has slipped my mind because I brought up mixed tag. But as you say, you can have mixed tags, and it doesn't mean as much. Like, I've lost my train of thought. I had a really good point, and I've got distracted by my own brain. Forget that happened. You continue. Sorry.
No worries. I think it just speaks to that, you know, women should absolutely get the same opportunity as men. They should get the pay that they deserve, whether they're on the main card or whatever your role you suit. You should get the pay that you deserve. You should get the same TV time, the same opportunities in whatever field, e-wrestling, life, absolutely. And then obviously there's people that are, you know, say, oh, I don't watch the women's wrestling, or that's a toilet break match. That's just a shit mentality to have in general in life. I don't know why the fuck people have that, because they like to watch 4chan and, you know, live in their mother's basement.
Yeah.
You do you, big man. You do you. It just speaks to the way, you know, how people are in this day and age. But obviously with my last point as well I made, obviously, is that you need to have the plan in mind. You just don't introduce something for the sake of introducing it. You need to have that plan.
I think on that topic as well, we did have the big rant about how, you have your token women's match on the card. See, if you don't have a plan for your women's division, if you're going to have one, don't have a women's match. You don't shoehorn them in there to tick a box. I think WrestleZone's a good example of this. Great company. I would love to work for WrestleZone. They're getting Nix and Newell up. That's so cool. Big pop. But they're not shoehorning women's matches in just to be like, here's our women's match. Go to the toilet now. You know, like they're putting on the best matches they have with the roster that they have, and they're not maybe just slamming a random match with two women together to go for 10 minutes and no one cares. I think a lot of the time, I've not been to a WrestleZone show, but I've seen clips online. I've got a lot of friends who wrestle for WrestleZone, and I think they always have matches that have intention behind them, and I like that. I like matches that have intention behind them. So as much as I am pro women in wrestling, don't shoehorn us in to fill a quota, you know.
No. Have a plan, folks.
We learn have a plan.
If you're going to do an essay, have a backbone of a plan. Just don't head into it. I did that. It was a bad fucking night. Never doing that again. Have a plan.
And always. I agree with you, the whole don't put two singles wrestlers together as a tag team for 3 months and then have them. Because one of my biggest pet peeves in wrestling is, see, unless it's a big showcase match or it's a one-off match, tag teams should not be coming out to separate entrance music. They should come out to the same music. And that really annoys me when you have and I love Sasha and Bayley. They are my two favorite wrestlers of all time. But when they were women's champion, women's tag team champions in WWE, they were coming out to their own entrance musics, one after the other. And I'm like, no, these are tag champs, come out together, please. So that's my rant over.
The rant. People like to know, people like to debate. Hey, that's discussion at the end of the day. Everyone has a platform, everyone has a debate. Bing, bang, boom. But you know what? We spoke about intergender matches. You know, I've spoken to women who have had intergender matches as well as men. Is there a particular man you want to face in the ring? I mean, could we maybe see you and Wolfgang if stars align? You know, that'd be funny.
Yes, that is the dream match. Terrifying. I've obviously trained under Wolfgang since I started wrestling because he was a coach at the Asylum, and then obviously he founded Girders. So I've trained with them. It's terrifying to be in the ring with them. It is terrifying, but what a test that would be of my own skill to come one-on-one with arguably one of the best in the world. We'd all agree. But let's see. I would love to wrestle Vanity, Ronan King, Judas Gray, as a tag match, 2 singles, handicap. They can both beat me up, but then I'd win anyway, obviously. But I think they're definitely the two to watch on the Scottish scene. I think they're both incredible. Weirdly, I know we're a tag team now. Me and Martin have never had a match ever. So a bit of friendly fire, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Well, guests of the show have fought each other since its inception. I'm trying to stop violence. But I mean, hey, look, maybe that's something that can happen in the future. I'm not going to try and instigate it. I'm not an instigator. I like to peace, manageable. Except if someone costs me $10.50 for a pint, then fists are fucking flying.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, hey, Judas Gray's a good shout. He does have that Discovery Wrestling National Openweight Championship. I mean, who knows? Who knows? You know what, Ellie? It's been an absolute great chat with you, and I know you and Planet A have a lot of things planned for today, so I will let you get away just now there. But of course, final question before we wrap up. Your CPW Women's Championship is in its second reign. You've got a lot of great things coming, a lot of great opponents, I'm sure. But what about match type? Is there a particular match type you would love to have defending your championship?
Ooh. I'm never touching tables again. That was terrifying. So tables are no, hated that. I think I want to prove myself. I'd love to do a proper 20-minute, 30-minute scramble where we've got 5 of us in the ring. Last person to get the pinfall is the title. I back myself. I could get that. I could, even in a scramble when the odds are against me. I think I've been fighting the odds for both of my CPW reigns. So give me a scramble.
Wow, I mean, it'll definitely be a scramble. Well, when they all see the plant-based powerhouse coming at them, they're going to be trembling in fear.
Exactly.
Ellie, you know what? It's been a pleasure to have you here on the Soul Session. And of course, we will have Planet A in the future and spread that message. But of course, folks, if you love what you've heard of Ellie, want to see her journey and her message, I've put a link to her Instagram down below. You can click it, follow her journey, and see what she gets up to in her second reign as CPW Women's Champion. Well, folks, as the Scotsman always say, finish up your drink, put your chairs away, and thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.
Now I'm out the hill and two. Gonna live like animals do. No more laws and no more rules. Nobody, no more